gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near.
There is an ancient story of mystery and spirit told for thousands of years in the springtime of the year. Demeter, the Greek goddess of the earth, had a beautiful daughter, and her name was Persephone. One terrifying day, Hades, the god of death, kidnapped Persephone and took her down, down, down to the underworld. Demeter, the earth mother, grieved the loss of her daughter. Because of her sadness, all the earth's plants and trees grew brown and lifeless. Afraid that green would never return, the gods of Olympus freed Persephone from death, and she rose up once more to the surface of the earth. Can we lift our first box? In joy, life rose up and burst forth, the sun warming, trees budding, flowers blossoming, and birds singing once more. Gathered there in the mystery of the hour, Spirit drew near.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near.
There is an ancient story of mystery and spirit told for thousands of years in the springtime of the year. Moses, Miriam, and Aaron, Hebrew siblings called by God to be liberators, were sent down, down, down to Egypt. There the Hebrew people were enslaved. Moses, Miriam, and Aaron arrived in Egypt. They told the enslaved Hebrews, "Put on your sandals and walk yourselves to freedom." On a dark night, a deadly shadow enveloped Egypt and took the lives of all the firstborn, but it passed over the homes of the Hebrews. Their doors were marked with a sign of divine protection. Can we lift off the second box? Liberating themselves, the Hebrews rose up and burst forth, singing songs of freedom and jubilation, walking towards their freedom land. Gathered there in the mystery of the hour, Spirit drew near.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near.
There is an ancient story of mystery and spirit for thousands of years in the springtime of the year. At the break of dawn on the first day of the week, Mary of Magdala walked down to the tomb. It was the tomb of her friend, Jesus of Nazareth, a powerful prophet who had come to teach us about love and justice. 3 terrifying days before, Jesus had been crucified and died, his body buried, his tomb sealed shut with a heavy stone. But when Mary arrived at the tomb, she saw the stone was rolled away. She looked into the tomb. The body was gone. The tomb was empty, but Mary could feel that Jesus' love remained. A song of new life rose up and burst forth as Mary ran to share the news with her friends. Jesus' love had lived on in their hearts. The forces of evil and death were not stronger than the voices of love.
And Oliver, you can open your box.
Open your box.
Oh.
Gathered there in the mystery of the hour, Spirit drew near.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body. gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Gathered here in one strong body. Gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near.
Gathered here in the light of the spring equinox. Gathered here in this season of Passover. Gathered here on this Easter morning, we light 3 candles.
Our first candle is green, for the new life we find at the spring equinox. We light it in celebration of the spiritual teachings of pagan and earth-centered traditions, which remind us of the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature.
Our second candle is yellow, for the rebirth of freedom we remember at Passover. We light it in celebration of the spiritual teachings of the Jewish tradition, which challenge us to practice tikkun ulam, the rebuilding of our world through justice, equity, and compassion.
Our third candle is red, for the rising up of love we remember at Easter. We light it in celebration of the spiritual teachings of the Christian tradition, which reminded us to respond to God's love by loving neighbors and strangers as ourselves.
May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
And let's show our appreciation for our box lifters as you all head back as well. And Elliot, you can head on back to your seat as well. Thanks. So because it's an all-ages service, you're spared a sermon today. But you do get a reflection. So I have always loved these 3 springtime stories. We have Persephone rising up from the underworld to liberate the sun and create another spring. Let's hear it for Persephone. We've got the ancient Hebrews rising from enslavement to liberate themselves from Pharaoh's cruel hand so that their children and their children's children will know what it feels like to be free. Let's hear it for liberation. And our third story, Jesus' vision of love and justice rising up in the hearts of his friends and followers, liberating them from the fear and despair that consumed them after Jesus' brutal execution. I love these 3 springtime stories, but it's important for us to remember that Easter is not spring. They're 2 different things entirely. Spring is automatic. It comes every year naturally. The days get longer, the sun is closer, grasses grow green, those Fresno fruit trees bud, sheep mate, birds sing, and the path is paved for the eventual arrival of summer. We could remove every human being from Earth, and spring would still happen. But Easter needs human beings. For Easter is about the human struggle to go on even though our death always awaits us, near or far. Easter is about that human choice to go on despite the shattering loss of those we love who have left an imprint on our lives. Easter is about the human struggle to keep going on when our assumptions, hopes, and dreams have been upended. Easter is about the human choice to endure when life is hard, is painful, and for some of us, is so, so unfair. Easter is about that human struggle to rise up after a sleepless night, our mind numbed with anxiety, and still make breakfast for the kids, send them off to school with them knowing that you're going to be there for them when they return home. Easter is about the human choice for us to hold on to kindness, to hold on to generosity, even in the face of cruelty and greed. Easter is about the human struggle to create goodness, for us to create goodness despite the presence of evil actions. Spring is automatic. Easter is a choice. Jesus' friends and followers had such high hopes for that guy. In the midst of a brutal occupation, Jesus had to reawaken their hearts with his talk about a kingdom of equals, where all people had inherent worthiness and all people would be treated with respect. Jesus had invigorated their hearts when he openly challenged the system that elevated the super rich and super powerful. Jesus' followers loved that he spoke truth to that power, and he showed them that they could do it too. They couldn't believe that in Jesus' vision of beloved community, women were allowed to use their voices and be leaders, something that was not common at that time. They couldn't believe it when Jesus went to those people who had been forced out to the margins and then invited them to be front and center in his movement. They were totally on board when Jesus told them that their true power was their ability to love one another, just as God loved them. And then, like that, it was over. On Thursday night, the elites and powers that be grabbed Jesus off the street and threw him into an unmarked holding cell. By Friday morning, they fast-tracked him through a sham trial and pronounced him guilty as charged. By Friday at noon, they sent him off to the cross with the hammer and nails. By Friday night, it was over. Jesus was dead. His friends were trembling behind locked doors, fearing that they would be the next to be taken away. They would be the next to be disappeared. As Earl Holt writes, Jesus died. His death meant exactly what every death means: the end of his life's promise, the end of his hopes, the end of his dreams, and also the end of the hopes and dreams which others had of him and for him, of what they hoped he was and what they needed and wanted him to be. But then, says Earl Holt, something happened in the minds and hearts of Jesus' friends. A transformation occurred, a radical shift from absolute despair to renewed hope, from a sense of the utter absence of Jesus to a feeling that in some way he was still with them, that his death was not the end, it was the beginning. What had died became again lively in the world. Earl Holt continues, the possibility of transformation and renewal exists. It is in us. It is in each one of us. It is in us collectively. Earl Holt says, all around us are people whose lives, in large ways and small ways, have been transformed and renewed. Around us are those who have overcome the loss of what was most precious to them in the world. Those who have won a battle with alcohol or other drugs. Those who have transcended the temptation of despair when life is at its hardest. Resurrection is not a long ago, unique, unlikely event, but it is potentially present in all human life. It is potentially present in our human life. Earl Holt concludes saying, death threatens us not only at the end of our lives, but at every moment. The 1,000 little deaths of the spirit, the grievances we carry with us, one stacked on another, the discouragements and sorrows that weigh us down, the sense of frustration or futility that cloud our days and drear our nights. Easter, dear ones, is the potential of new life. It's the assurance of the possibility that in the midst of death, we are in life. In the midst of death, we are in life. That, dear ones, is the choice Easter offers us. It isn't automatic. It doesn't happen naturally, this rising up of our human enduring spirit. But it is a possibility if we choose it. In the midst of death, we can be in life. Que así sea, bendito sea. May it be so. Blessed be. Happy Easter. Amen.